My dad enlisted in World War II. He hadn't even finished high school, and he never wanted to talk about it. He just said it was something that he didn't want to be reminded of. I always thought my dad, as a strong person, have gone through all those things and seen all that, and I can't even imagine what he felt and the fear, wondering if he was going to come back home, being so full of fear. See, my dad was in that time where he wasn't, those things were taken from them, and he never learned those things. He never even learned the language because my grandma never spoke it around them, only when she was with her sisters. They never wanted that language to be taught to their sons because a long time ago, I guess they got in trouble for speaking the language. My dad did not grow up with all that. It was like a bad thing for him to know those things, and that's why my dad was so excited when I got involved in our Native American traditions. He wanted me to continue to learn and to stay involved because it brought him so much happiness. It's like all of a sudden it was okay to be Indian. I took my dad to a Native American event they were holding over at the Capitol in Sacramento. We were standing off to the side and we were waiting for them to tell us where we were going to gather to get in part of this march. Well, before that could happen, my dad saw all these Native American veterans marching in this parade, and he went over the ropes and he joined them. He stood so straight and tall and he looked so proud. And I'm happy that my dad, that he got to know it was okay to be Native, to be who he was, and how it made him so happy. I was able to take my dad to his first roundhouse dance. Of course, had to tell my dad all the rules of the house. It didn't take him long before he was up and dancing. He danced just about every dance out there, and he was just so happy. He was so happy that he could take part in these Native American traditions. I'm really glad that he got to do that before he died because it was never okay. It was always, don't tell anybody that you're Indian. There's a lot of prejudice out there, and so we could never tell anybody we were Native American. He got to be who he was. He was proud of what I was doing, and he wanted me to continue to keep our tradition and our culture alive. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do. And I think of my dad all the time, you know. Because of the missions, it disrupted the way of life of our people, and it was terrorizing. I can only imagine what they felt. I mean, because everything was taken from them. Our ancestors who were in that time of the missions. So when mission era was over and the Native people were free to leave, they didn't know what to do. A lot of them didn't want to leave the missions. People didn't know what to do or where to go because all they knew was the mission life inside the mission. And their land was gone. And then a lot of the generations after that who were born in the missions didn't know much about their traditions because that was also taken from them. So these are all things we've had to relearn. I'm glad that we have the archives and the museums to go back to and even to look at our baskets because even though they tried to wipe us out, they didn't know that by hanging on to our artifacts, that kept us alive because now we have that to go back and relearn. We've been able to relearn our songs as well. They were there for us when we were ready, and that's what's keeping us going. We were crossing over this bridge. I was horrified to see all these dead fish. It looked like a massacre. This is what it must have been like when the Native people were invaded and all these tribes were massacred, hunted down and just massacred. Just seeing those fish like that, and they're like our people. It upset me so badly because I connected it with the massacre of the Native people. You know, the bounties that were put put out on them years ago. And my involvement at the preserve is teaching me to become an advocate for the plant. Their uniqueness is their survival. I think their survival is much like us as indigenous people. And I think how wonderful, they're surviving. When I was about 6, maybe 6 or so my auntie's mother or grandmother, I don't know which she was, and I had my hair cut off because one of the boys threw a pine cone in my hair and I got the sap off. So my dad got my hair cut and it was real short. And when I walked past her, she said in Indian, she didn't speak English, she said something in Indian. And I said, "Auntie, what does grandmother say?" And she asked whose boy you were. And I said, "I'm not a boy, I'm a girl." And I got very indignant about it. And grandmother started laughing. And I was so insulted, and I walked away, stomping away. And every time, she had a place that she sat all the time, which she gave her some sun. And every time I walked past her, she would say that to me, and I'd laugh. And pretty soon it got to be where I was laughing too, and it got to be our joke.